Hello, everybody. When you arrive, so we can get going on this really fun class. Uh, I was up early this morning. It was a very early morning, and I had to take care of groceries and dogs and all of that stuff. I'm just shutting my phone down. Good morning, Susan. How are you? Are you looking forward to Lake Shore Hosta and us learning together? From Kansas. What are you doing in Kansas? Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's not that warm here either. This next week is gonna be cold, like 30s in Florida. Not fun. It's gonna be really cold. It's been cold. As you can tell, I got long sleeves on, and my sweatshirt is over there in case I need it because it's cold. Cold, 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 cold. I'm a little crazy. I didn't get home until after 5 yesterday between the doctor's appointments and we actually went out to eat because I didn't feel like, ooh, single digits. No, thank you, Susan. You can keep those. I didn't feel like cooking, so we went out for dinner. It was like late by the time I got home last night. And we left here at, I don't know, between 1 and 2. The doctor's appointment was late. They were almost 45 minutes late. We sat there waiting for them to come in. And then once we got in there, it was a lot of blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like trying to elbow my husband, like, all right, enough, enough. He's like a social butterfly. Stop. Let's go. I want to go home. I'm not in the mood. Okay. So I'm going to start off by telling you a few things in my experience that you will need. Okay. Flat pins can be butterflies, they can be flowers, whatever, as long as they're flat. Double-sided tape, Scotch tape, and regular Scotch tape. Okay. The double-sided tape is for actually when we start cutting the fabric. Scotch tape, regular Scotch tape, is for if you tear a pattern and you can put some tape on it to keep it together. So far, so good. If you bought the wall hanging kit, I should say pattern, you need at least 9 project bags. These can be Ziploc bags, large Ziploc bags, or I really love these. I buy these by the dozen and they have zippers, and I love these. These are great, and I will actually give you a link to the ones that I buy if you'd like, because they work really, really well, and that I have found. Hold on. I meant to do this before and I got tied up doing other things. And I couldn't find I've cut most of the patterns already. And I left some so that I can show you guys what you need to do. And I couldn't for the life of me find my pattern, my pieces. I was like, really? Just one of those days. When you get up early, it messes everything up. Hold on. All right, here's the ones that I bought. And I'll give you the link because these are not mesh. They're like they're water resistant. So God forbid if you drop something, they're less likely to get fluid in. Mesh is good, but I like the added protection of the plastic. Um, just to be safe. Hi, Mary. How are you? Here's the link to the ones that I got from Amazon. They're really good. They're 12 inches by 16 inches with the zipper. And they come in multiple colors. Not that the color matters, but they're good size. And like I said, they're plastic, not mesh. I personally like the plastic better than mesh. It just gives you an extra protection. Another thing needed. Hold on. Clips, binder clips. Now, as you can see, I got a lot. This is just my large and medium sized ones. So I have this size, which I use often, not just for binding. And you're going to see why. And I also have the smaller size, again, that I use. So right now, you'll probably use mostly this size, the medium size, and possibly some of the larger ones if you have them. Just sometimes mine get mixed up and they're not supposed to. This is supposed to be just for the smaller ones. Okay. I don't get over my list. What else was on that list? Goodness gracious. At the same time, I'm actually printing 3D printing some other stuff. And I keep looking at it just to make sure. Okay, flat pins, binder clips, the project bags or large, like gallon and a half Ziploc bags, something like that. Regular Scotch tape, and then double-sided tape, Scotch tape. A rotary cutter with extra blades. So, for instance, I kept my fabric blade in this one, and this is an older blade that I'm using for cutting paper. So don't change your blade in your rotary cutter. And if you have a small 28 millimeter blade, that might even be more helpful. I don't know where mine is. A smaller blade might be easier for you for cutting these patterns, okay? And rulers. I used 2 different size rulers in this. I'm sorry. I completely forgot to change the picture. Okay, so this one has my rotary blade that I haven't changed, that I've been using for cutting paper, and this one I left my fabric cutting blade in. Okay, if you have the smaller 28 millimeter, that might be more easier for you. If you don't, 45, whatever, it's fine. You're going to learn how to use it. I have 2 different ruler sizes that I used for cutting these patterns. Okay, and I'll show you how I cut. It's gonna take some getting used to. If you don't want to cut multiples like I did, cut them one at a time if you feel more comfortable, and I'll show you what I mean. And of course, flat pins, tons of flat pins. All right, I'm gonna put this over here. All my now, let's go through the pattern. I am doing a rainbow quilt. So mine cutting is going to be a little bit different than yours, and I will explain that when I start cutting. Most people are doing not necessarily this print, but just one colorway, whereas I'm going to be doing the rainbow colorway. Okay. I will explain that as we go through the cutting process. First thing we do, here's your pattern. Okay, you want to, and I'm not going to go through the, show you everything in the pattern because it's not fair unless you, well, not that it matters because you haven't need the paper pieces anyway. On page 2, up here at the top, it's going to give you your bags as far as what we're putting in the Ziploc bags, okay? So, for instance, in bag 1 is unit A1. So all I did was take papers and pen and write bag 1. And then I went down and did A1. And I put that in my first bag. Okay. Then I went down and said, okay, bag 2 is A2. It's not going to make any sense right now, but it will when we start cutting A2. And then I put that in a second bag and go down. Bag 9, bag 9 has a lot more in it. So it's got the T templates, FL9, FL10, FL11, FL12. So then I would do bag 9 and I'd make bullet points. FL9, FL10, FL11, etc. Okay, and then I would put this in a bag. Are you following me so far? Hi, Fran. Hi, Karen. Does everybody understand where I'm coming from so far? All right. Are you seeing me right now, people? Or are you seeing the table, which is an old, oh, there it is. I don't know. It was lagging. It didn't switch for me very quickly. Okay, great. So that's on page 2. And then we're going to go to page 5. And is it page 5, page 5, page 5, page 5? Oh, no, I'm sorry, page 4. See down here, it's going to tell you right here, you need, in parentheses, it has 4, and it says NP 396. Now, here's one of the things that I did not understand, and maybe somebody else knows it, but these pattern pieces start off with NP or TP. And we're not talking toilet paper. TP is a template piece. And NP is a foundation piece. See, TP? Templates have a hard line that you would use to cut. So see, like this is a template where it's got an arch. Now, this is not our pattern that we're doing now. I just wanted to show you the difference. And NP is the foundation pieces, which we're going to use to do our foundation paper piecing. I don't know what the NP stands for. I haven't figured that out yet, but I do know that TP stands for templates, okay? So as we go through, what I'm going to do, what I did in the beginning and what I want you to do, just to make sure, is you go through, okay, make sure I have 4 of the 396 and 1 of the TP 217. If you get the 396, normally the neck, these are joined, not necessarily joined, but they're in the same folded packet. All right. And then we're going to go to the next one and just go through the list and make sure we have everything we need. The next page is right here, page 10. So we're going to make sure we have one of the NP 397 and one of the NP 400. And we'll keep going, keep going. Two of the NP 399, one of the TP 220, and so on. Go all the way to the end and make sure that you have all of your pieces. Okay. And then that's all we're going to need from the pattern for this, for right this minute. What I want you to do, okay, especially on the NP pieces, you're going to have multiples. So right now I have two pieces. I've already cut everything else. But I do have two of these left to cut for you, and I kept two so that I could show you. See the NP 396, NP 396. Okay. When they print these, they all are printed the same. You're missing some? Are you sure you're missing some? Because they are folded together, meaning these NP 396s were folded with the TP 217s. Make sure, you know, they are folded together. They'll be folded in a pack. I would just double check that, Mary. Make sure that, because they are folded together. Do you have it with you now that you can just double check? All right. While you do that, Miss Mary, I'm going to go on to what I was saying. All of these are printed the same. What may not be the same is where they cut them, meaning some of these pages may be cut closer to the number or further away. So these are foundation paper piecing. We need them all to be cut in the same place. So if you do not feel comfortable doing it the way I'm going to show you, cut this pattern one at a time, okay? The NP foundation pieces, we cut 1/4 of an inch larger than we actually need. So I'm going to be cutting 1/4 of an inch from these lines. If it's close, I'm just going to split the difference between two patterns, okay? TP, which are the template pieces, you can cut on the line. My suggestion to you is to cut everything 1/4 of an inch bigger than you need it, so you don't get confused and miscut one or the other. Hopefully that makes sense. That makes sense? Oh, it's cold down here, and this whole week it's gonna be cold. It's not nice. Okay, good. So for these NP pieces, the reason the flat pins are so important is we're going to use those kind of like when we were sewing. What was it? What did we just get finished sewing? Oh, my brain is fried. When you're lining up your seams and you put a pin in, the last quilt we did, my brain is fried. Oh, good. Okay, so you definitely have your pieces, Miss Mary? When we aligned some of the seams and we put a pin in the front to the back and held it upright before we pinned it to make sure everything was nice and straight, we're going to be using that technique again on these pattern pieces to get them lined up. And I'll show you what I mean. What I want you to do now, actually, hold on. This is pretty big, so bear with me. I'm cutting it on a small mat, okay? Oh, good. I'm glad. Glad, Miss Mary. Yeah, it's a little, at first it's a little annoying trying to figure it all out, but you'll get there. I did too. It takes time. But you definitely, I have known some people that have missed pages. So it's definitely the first thing I would do is check all the pages to make sure that you have them so you don't miss it halfway through. Okay. Okay, dokie. So, a flat pin, and I'm going to pick a spot on this pattern. And I'm just gonna do, let's see, what am I gonna do? Let's do the tip of the N. I need my glasses. So I'm gonna do the tip of the N through one page. And then go through the tip of the N on the second page, or third or fourth, however many there are. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, then just do it one at a time, okay? Now I've got it standing upright. And then I'm going to put a pin in. And I can take my pin out. They are off just slightly on this one, but I've seen some. Can you see how off there a little bit? Right here. I have seen some that are a lot further off. So now in this corner, I've got the number 2. And I'm going to do the same thing. Okay. So now let's do this point right here at the bottom of the 2. And you can rip these papers. That's why I said you need the regular Scotch tape, just in case. And then I'm going to go through this bottom 2. I'm going to make sure it's upright, vertical. And put my pin in, take my pin out. Now this is halfway down in the center of the paper. I'm going to pick, let's say, the bottom of the P. I can't see where getting old is terrible. And the bottom of the P on this one. And I'm going to hold it upright and straight. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. This takes a while. I'll warn you ahead of time. It takes a while to get all of these things done. But once you do, it's not too bad. Goes pretty quick. The rest of the cutting. So this week, the only thing I'm going to have you do is to double check your pattern. Make sure you have all your pattern pieces. And I'm going to have you cut all of your pattern pieces so that we're ready to cut fabric next week. Okay. Now this end we've got the one. So I'm just going to go at the tip of the one. Try not to wiggle the pin too much because then you'll make the hole too big and it won't line up. It'll be, you'll over line it up. One more corner, and then we're going to fill in pins in the main part of the pattern. It's time. I'm gonna do corner of the end. And this is also why I tell you, you're going to want at least 1/4 of an inch all the way around, because these are not lined up, right? I mean, this isn't too bad. We're about 1/8 of an inch difference between these two pattern pieces. So if you relied on the paper that's not cut exact, you could cut wrong on your pattern pieces and cut off parts of it that you don't want to cut off. So now that I've done all 4 corners and the centers, meaning this center here and the other side, I'm going to start putting some pins in just to hold the bulk of it when I start cutting. Obviously, on the smaller pieces, you only need 1 or so. The bigger pieces, like this long piece, I probably did, I don't know, 4 to 5 pins at least. Okay. I have a small area cutting mat that I'm trying to show you on. So I'm just going to rough cut some of these into smaller pieces. And then I'll show you how I cut. Make sure you are only cutting what you want. Don't make sure these patterns are opened up so you're not fold over and cutting something that you shouldn't cut. Okay. And again, if you don't feel comfortable cutting it the way I'm going to show you how to cut it, just do it one layer at a time then. All right. All right. We're going to start. I'm going to start with the small and easy pieces first. And just take your time. Now these are a little bit too small for this, but I'm going to use this one. So all I'm doing, putting my 1/4 of an inch line on the outside edge of the cutting line and cutting. So even it's got a little slant here, so I follow the slant too. If they're curved, meaning the pieces are a little curved or a lot of curve, I just go as consistent as possible with the curve, 1/4 of an inch. Again, on the template pieces, these are NP pieces. The template pieces do not have to be cut this way, but I recommend that you do so that you're consistent throughout and you don't forget. Okay, A1. First cut. Try to get rid of all this little paper as much as possible. Yeah, I cleaned up a lot of papers. Next. A1. Now I can take these pins out. Go to my A1 bag. Take my A1 unit, A1 bag. I already cut the rest of these. A1 units, A1 units, and clip them together. That way, when you're ready to do this unit, all you have to do is grab one clip. Okay, now we're gonna go on to the little bit more difficult aspect of cutting these. And that's when I use my smaller ruler. Okay. I'm gonna do these straight edges first. Oops. Now, it's hard to tell, but there's a little bit of a curve here. So just go the best you can, while, on this small angle. Okay. Now we've got this large curve and this large curve. This is how I do this. If you don't want to do it the way I do it, that's fine. If you don't feel comfortable doing with multiple layers, that's okay also. Just do one layer at a time. All right, so I've got my small ruler. I put the 1/4 inch mark on my cut line. And I literally am just gonna slide my ruler, and you can go a little bit at a time so you don't rip anything. You've got pins to worry about, and just go. Keeping my 1/4 inch line from my ruler on my cut line. And just go slow. Again, if you're not comfortable doing multiple layers like this, just do one layer at a time. I'm going to turn it around and we're going to do this curve. Now you can take, once you've cut it, you can take your pins out. This is your two of the A2 units. Got more to cut. So I'm going to give you plenty of time to see how I cut it. And then you'll be on your own to cut more. Here's another A2 unit. I'm going to do my straight edge again. So the first time I cut, I just took all the pieces, the big sheet, and rough cutted them so that I had smaller units to work with. Make sure you take those small units and I put them off to the side so that they're not underneath your cut space again. And that way you won't run the risk of cutting them when you're not supposed to. Okay. Start. And all I'm going to do, whoops, sure I don't rip it. with my pins. So just go slow. Just moving the ruler at the same time I'm moving the rotary cutter. I do the other side. All right. Okay. Take all my pins out. Now we've got 4 more of these A2 units. Now I gotta find my A2 bag. This is it. Let's double check. Oh no, that's C2. Okay. Here's my A2 bag. So we're just going to put these with my other A2 units that I've already cut. Clip. I just loosely fold them in half so they'll fit in my project bag. I already put my tag in there so I know which one it is. And my final cuts that I want to show you are my A3 units. And they're no different than what we've already done. So I'm going to start with my little straight piece. That's why I say you gotta watch your pins. Either you don't want to cut, rip by getting your pin stuck under your ruler stuck under a pin. But you also don't want to pull the pins out before you're ready. That's why sometimes it's easier just to hold it a little bit up and go. Turn it around, get the final cut. These are pattern paper, so it's really, really thin. So if you've done it right, you should be able to see through when you look at the light, and the patterns will line up between the layers. If you're a little off, that's okay, as long as you do not cut the pattern wrong. You don't want to chop off any of these ends or anything like that. You got one more cut, and then I can answer any of your questions. All right. I'm just concentrating right here, right where my blade is, making sure that the 1/4 inch stays on the line. The 1/4 inch mark on the ruler stays on my pattern line. If you rip a pattern, that's what the regular Scotch tape is for. Line it back up and tape the rip. All right. These are A3s. Yeah, now I gotta find my A3 bag. That's that. All right. So that's all you need to do this week. Next week, we'll start cutting fabric. You'll definitely want the double-sided Scotch tape by next week when we start cutting fabric. So briefly, let's go over it again. Flat pins, double-sided Scotch tape, regular Scotch tape, project bags, at least 9 if you did the wall hanging, 10 if you did a larger of this Lake Shore Hosta where it includes a lot of border pieces. Rotary cutter, you might find it easier if you have a 28 millimeter for doing the pattern cutting. If not, just go slow. If you don't feel comfortable doing multiple layers, do 1 layer at a time. First, you're going to check all of your patterns, make sure you have all of your pieces. You also need binder clips. I think that's pretty much it. And regular Scotch tape in case you rip your one of your patterns. All right, I think that's it. Cut at least a 1/4 inch on all the patterns just to be safe. Traditionally, the TP, which are template patterns, do not have to be cut a quarter of an inch away. You can cut them right on the cut line. Let's see if I can show you. So this is a template piece. I cut a quarter of an inch around, just like I did with the other pattern pieces, but you could, if you're comfortable, cut right on the line. If you're going to cut right on the line, I only recommend one layer at a time, because if you're off with your lining up, you could cut into, you could cut off part of your template that you don't want to. This is a unit A1, so this one goes into our A1 bag. And you can refer back to that, what is it, page 4 or page 2, possibly, with the listing of the bags. Page 2, I think. Yep, page 2 at the top, which is going to give you all of your bags. It says 10, bag number 10 for border strips, but I mean, I don't think you'll need it if you're doing the wall unit. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Concerns? Miss Mary, did you get it all? All your pattern pieces? Anybody have any questions? Because I got a little while to eat lunch. Lots of homework. Yes, you got to cut all your pattern. You can probably do it in a day or two if that's really all. It's not that bad. It looks like a lot worse. If you do the layers like I did and go a quarter of an inch, you can get through it pretty quickly. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, just do it one at a time, please. I'd rather that than have you tear up pattern pieces that you don't want to. Are you good, Miss Mary? Did you have any questions? We begin fun next week. We're gonna start cutting fabric. Be prepared. Oh, that was the other thing. Actually, we're gonna wait. We're not gonna meet next week, because here's the other thing that I want you to do to get ready for fabric cutting, and then we can be on the same page. Okay. So if we go to page 5, see down here where it says fabric A1. So you should have all your fabrics figured out here, and it shows you what letters go with what. A1 is 4 with the fabric strips that are 8.5 inch wide. So I want you to cut strips 8.5 inch wide. Okay. Don't worry about cutting with the pattern pieces. I just want you to get the base fabric together. Okay. So for the A1 unit 2, we need 4 8.5 inch strips with a fabric. And that's the background fabric, I believe, but don't hold me to that. A2 unit, A1, you need 1 6-inch strip of fabric. A1 unit 4, you need 1 4.5 inch strip of fabric. Okay, so just go through, and what I recommend is just checking off as you cut them. Okay, and just go. Whoops. Done. My fabric's all cut. For instance, here is my A1, A2 unit fabrics. They're just with the fabric strips, 8.5 inches wide, 4 of them. Does that make sense? If you can get through your pattern pieces, which should not take too long, and just cut, you don't even have to cut it all, but cut the first few strips or what as much as you can. Then we can actually cut at the same time. You can watch me next, not next week. I'm going to give you an extra week. We'll meet the following weekend. So that Saturday, it would be not the 11th, but the 18th we're going to meet. How does that sound? That way it'll give you an extra week to get some of your fabric cut. And then I will show you how to cut the pattern from your fabric. Does that sound like a plan for everybody? Because I know it's a lot of cutting if you're not used to it. All right, so you're going to have 2 weeks to cut your pattern and your fabric strips, not anything else. It's a lot of fabric, trust me. What I recommend if I was you is making tags like we did for the bags and put unit A2 and then pin it or clip the paper A2 to your A2 fabric strips. That way it's easier. You're only going through this pattern once and you're not going to freak yourself out trying to figure out which one's a which. Okay. So like this is my A2 fabric. That's already cut. Just put a clip on it. I have a lot of clips. I like clips. I use binder clips for a lot of things. There you go. And then you can layer them. So I would put this down, right side down, and then put my next set on, my next set on, my next set on. Does that make sense? It'll be a lot easier that way for you guys. You won't have to freak out so much with the pattern. Then we can just look at the pattern, use the pattern pictures for how we're going to cut the fabric. So you got 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We're not going to meet next week. We're going to meet following week. Anybody have any questions? I'm tired. This week has been tough with New Year's and fireworks. I've been woken up multiple times, at least 2 days in a row with fireworks for the dog, Nola, because Nola's freaking the heck out. And then I love going to the doctors with my husband and having them make us wait 45 minutes before we could even get into the doctor's office. By the time we left, it was like late. I was like, I'm not going home cooking. I want to eat. We didn't get home yesterday until after 5 o'clock. I'm just tired. And I started taking my tree apart too. My trees. I haven't gone outside yet and done outside other than Erin took the characters down, but that's it. All right. I have about an hour to eat lunch before my next class. So if you don't have any questions, I'm going to leave you here. If you do have questions, message me and I will get right back to you. So we're not meeting next Saturday. We're meeting the 18th. 18th? Yes, the 18th. So it gives you 2 weeks to cut your patterns and your first round of fabric. Oh, I didn't show you. Look at my first book nook book. Isn't it cute? I've already done like 10 bags just to get this far. Not done yet. I got a whole bunch more to do. Probably about another 15 or 20 bags of pieces. But I'm having fun. It's a lot of fun. All right. I'm gonna go let the dog out and get something for lunch before I have to switch gears and do my symphony quilt. I like symphony. It's gonna be fun. Have a lovely day, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'm here if you need me. Just message me if you have any questions at all. Bye. Bye, Miss Mary.